All right, so this is another quick question on the descriptive packet. This was number 9. It was a multiple choice question. I had a few questions about this one, and I did want to go over it a little bit because it's a cumulative frequency plot. And then they're asking you about basically the distribution or the shape of the distribution. So what we have to realize is that they're not asking us to describe the shape of this distribution. We only describe shape if we have something like a histogram or a box plot or something like that. Dot plot, stem and leaf plot. So what we have to realize here is the cumulative frequency graph is adding percentages as we go. So this is saying that, about 5% of students made a 10 or less. About 85-ish% of students made a 40 or less. So it's adding up the percentages as we go. It's cumulative. So if I were to think about, I'm just going to look at, it's like 95% made like a 50 or less. So most of these students are making pretty low scores, and then we only have like about 5% that are above that. So if I imagine what that would look like as a histogram, if here's 0 and here's 100 and here's 50, the majority of my students are making between 0 and 50. Not my students. The students in this problem are making between a 0 and a 50. So we can imagine that these bars would all be pretty tall, but then after 50 it gets really, really small. Remember, only 5% of the students have scores between 50 and 100. So these are going to be real small numbers. And when I look at it like that, I can clearly see that this graph is skewed to the higher numbers, or skewed to the right. So that is our answer. Just to go through some of the other ones and how I would tell from this graph, the median should be the 50th percentile. So here's our 50th percentile, follow it over. That's at about like 25. So that's definitely not 60 points. We talked about the skew, so it is talking about the histogram is skewed to the right. It's not roughly symmetric because it's skewed to the right. And if the passing score is 60, is right here, only above that, so like maybe 4 or 5%. So about 95-96% of the students made below a 60. So most students failed the test, not passed. So that is number 9.